I've had it for 25 years, I still have it. In the case of irritable bowel syndrome, that's a case where there is more bad bacteria than good bacteria in your gut.
Think you had cancer?
Oh yes, it's better for those who don't have IBS or who have IBS to start investing in their gut health in their 20s. Try to do 10 hours of eating and 14 hours of fasting if your body can take it. While you do all of this, I personally, Z, would not take supplements. I would not.
What's that one surprising thing that you found about the gut?
When it comes to taking care of your gut, this is basically what I have been doing for the last 25 years. It's tried, tested.
Hi, John.
Hi, Z.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. And before we have this conversation, I have some rapid fire questions I'd like to ask you about the gut. I know this is going to be very informative because I've heard a lot about the gut and I have also been interested in the gut. But I'm going to just sort of throw these questions at you and let's go.
Let's go.
If your gut could text you one message every morning, what would it say?
Are you tuning into me daily?
Let's just say, yeah, somewhat.
I think in my case, I do. I have to strictly listen to my gut.
Yeah. So your gut will tell you to strictly listen to it.
I think with age, you have to. In early days, I kind of go like, hey, you listen to me. But now I'm like, no, I have to listen to my gut. It's my boss.
That's fair enough. Oh, wow. Yeah. What's one gut habit most healthy people unknowingly get wrong?
Ignoring how they feel after they finish their meals. Because one person's superfood is another person's trigger.
Ooh, I need to put that in a frame. What's one daily habit you thought was harmless but turned out to be hurting your gut?
Having coffee on an empty stomach. Sorry, coffee lovers, but yes.
Yeah, people do that a lot, don't they? What's one thing you've stopped doing that made your gut feel better?
I don't sit for too long. I intentionally try to move every 2 hours. The gut loves movement. If
there was a gut health myth you could erase from the internet forever, what would it be?
Very interesting. Prebiotics and low FODMAP diets are the cure for all your gut issues. I think I would erase that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And finally, have you ever noticed gut reactions guiding your business or life decisions?
Oh, yes. It would be that tiny pinch in my lower tummy. If I feel that something is off, follow your gut sort of a thing, I would smile it off, or I would proactively say, sorry, that's not for me.
Oh, interesting. These are very, very important questions. And I think that for anybody listening, they'll be wondering why we're talking about the gut, right? So before we start this conversation, I want us to talk about what the gut is. For anyone who doesn't understand, because maybe people would have heard people say, I have a gut feeling, all of these things. But then, what
exactly
really
is the gut, right?
Gut?
Yeah. Very good question, Z. So the gut is your stomach and intestines that digest the food. It absorbs the nutrients and it helps keep your mood and your immune system in balance. So it's pretty much the control center for your body. That's the gut in a nutshell.
Okay. I've always imagined the gut to be like the esophagus. Is it the same thing?
So yes, it connects right from your where your food enters to your tummy, up to your lower
rectum. Does it get to your rectum?
Lower abdomen.
Okay, so somewhere around that area. And I am very interested because you are in your day job, you are in finance, right? And I'd love for us to have a conversation about money because we talk a lot about money on this channel as well. I would like to know why the interest, but for someone who works in finance and has great experience in finance, why did you decide to research the gut, know more about the gut, to a point that you wrote a book about the gut? So why is the gut important to you?
So in my case, Z, I've had IBS for over 25 years. So IBS is a gut issue where you have bloating, gas, indigestion, change in toilet habits. And it's basically The main reason for it is either stress or food triggers. And I've had IBS for over 25 years. And I wanted to understand more about what's happening with me. And it's mostly due to a lot of, I think, ignorance. We now have a lot of education on what IBS is.
Yeah.
So basically, in my book, I cover about all types of IBS, and it's to share awareness on what's worked and what hasn't. It's been years of trial, error, frustration, anxiety, stress as to what's happening with me, right? So nowadays you've got tests where you can find out what type of IBS you had. But in your maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, you probably didn't. You thought, oh, it's just because I'm eating something, I'm fine. That's normal. And we just ignore it, sort of a thing, right? In my case, I have gone through a lot of trial, error, and frustrations. And I wanted to share with people the practical tips that really worked for me. Simple, easy, and to show people that different IBS have different cures and strategies that they need to use.
Wow.
I wanted to share with people what has worked for me and to make them understand that each person is different. And I wanted to help them so that they can feel better. And more importantly, they can choose what helps them, because one size doesn't fit all.
So this is driven by a personal experience.
Oh, yeah.
And IBS. I think the first time I knew that there was something called IBS was only a couple of years ago when I just didn't feel okay. I felt like I had a situation in my tummy where I felt like my stomach was stinging, and it was just so many different ones, different symptoms where I felt like food wasn't like really digesting properly in my system. And before I went to see a doctor, I decided to do some research. And during the process of reading about it, that was when I saw that there was something called IBS, right? And then you have mentioned IBS a lot. So I wonder if you're able to let our audience know, because some people probably have experienced it or seen similar symptoms but do not know what it is, or they've heard the word IBS. Or what does the term IBS mean?
So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, and it's basically where your gut is not performing well. If you take a healthy gut, the symptoms is what we just discussed: gas, bloating, indigestion, irregular bowel habits. So irregular could be either diarrhea, can be constipation. So it's basically your bowels are irritated. That is irritable bowel syndrome. Syndrome basically means you can't cure it. It's lifelong.
Is it?
Yes, it's pretty sad, Z. So basically 1 in 5 people, I've had it for 25 years, I still have it, and there's no cure. So let's say if it's cancer, brain tumor, you always have cure for it, right? Though they say you might not live in the next 5 years. IBS is like, I'm sorry, but you're going to live for life with it. You love it and you take it and you just nurture it. That's what IBS is. So basically, in your gut, you've got good and bad bacteria. And if your gut is functioning well, it means that there's a good balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. In the case of irritable bowel syndrome, that's a case where there's more bad bacteria than good bacteria in your gut. So that's called dysbiosis. Gut dysbiosis. Your bad bacteria are taking more charge of how your body functions, which means you're feeling a little bit irritated, and that sends stress signals. Then you have bloating, your gut doesn't digest the food properly, it doesn't absorb the nutrients properly, and all that stuff. So basically, it is not a condition that is easy to live with, but it is extremely common. 1 in 5 people in the UK have irritable bowel syndrome, and normally women tend to have it more than men. And if men have it, the symptoms will be much painful than women. Do you want me to explain the different types of IBS? Would that help?
I think it would be good to do that.
Yeah. So there's IBS C, which is constipation, and IBS D, which is diarrhea.
Okay.
And IBS U, which is unidentified. That's one in between. You normally diagnose IBS by doing a blood check, and it could be hereditary, it could be non-hereditary. And usually there is, like I said, there's no cure for it. It's a lifelong management system.
I mean, I feel like I'm just getting so much new information on IBS because, first of all, I didn't think it was lifelong. I didn't know. I just thought that, okay, it's something you can manage and then it goes away and then that's it.
Honestly, I think a majority of the IBSs that I have researched and studied, and in my case, it's lifelong. It doesn't go off. But there are cases where, let's say, at early stages, due to stress at work or studying, the pressure, people have stress-related IBS and then it sort of fades off.
Yeah.
But if you're clinically diagnosed with IBS, it is very rare that it just goes off. And generally with IBS, it is important that you have proper consultation from a doctor, gastro, or a dietitian, nutritionist as well. Usually it is lifelong.
So back to your experience, at what point did you realize that you had to go see someone to a point that they diagnosed you of having IBS? What symptoms did you see? What experiences did you observe?
In my case, I had a mix of both constipation and diarrhea at the very, very early stages. And I thought it's because, like, back home, our food is very lavish, isn't it? We have a mix of meat, seafood, sometimes mixing meat, seafood, and
in one
veggies in one meal together is a bit too much for your system.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the others didn't feel the same way I did. And you usually run to the toilet after having a meal. And your stools are generally supposed to be well formed. If it's not, if it's not really diarrhea, but it's loose stools, then you know that something is wrong with your gut. And I thought maybe it's because it's too spicy, because our food tends to be spicy, right?
Yeah, very.
So I thought it's that. And I carried on that way. And after coming to the UK, I kind of reduced my intake of spice, and I noticed I was feeling slightly better. But I continue to have wheat, which is part of our, breads and all that stuff, right? So wheat has a fiber called gluten, and gluten is not easily absorbed by your gut because obviously you got IBS.
Yeah.
It's not functioning properly. Just to also say, Zarina, there's something called functional disorder. Okay. Basically, you're born with it. It's not because you were eating junk food or you were your family members had it. I'm a super healthy person from the time I was a kid. If at home people were having meat, I'll be the one like, can I have more greens, please? And I'm like, okay. So I was always healthy since I was a kid. In my case, it's something called functional disorder. So how do you diagnose that? You have an MRI scan, and it's so painful, Zarina. Your lower tummy hurts so much. Sometimes you think like, oh, I think the doctors are wrong. Maybe I've got cancer. Can you please check? It's pretty bad. So like I said, so it's bloating, it's tummy pain, lower tummy pain. Then you have like a mix of the loose stools and constipation. And then as I grew older, it's just only constipation because now I'm controlling my diet. So usually when it comes to those who have diarrhea, they could have literally 5 or 7 bowel movements a day of diarrhea, which is extremely bad.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. So generally you're supposed to have like 3 healthy movements of bowel a week. Anything less is pretty much you're constipated, but ideally a healthy bowel is 1 day each day. I was struggling with that. And then obviously people normally with gut health issues, they think they have cancer and they kind of tell their doctors, no, can you please diagnose me? And the doctors, they do like an MRI scan and they say, sorry, your gut is extremely fine. So they look through your tissues in your gut and they say your tissues are absolutely healthy. It's just functional. So you're born with it, pretty much.
Did you think you had cancer?
Oh, yes.
You did?
Of course, yes. Because it's very painful. I controlled gluten, onion, garlic, lactose, all of that stuff. And I still didn't feel great. So it gets worse as you age if you are not very careful. So it's better for those who don't have IBS or who have IBS to start investing in their gut health in their 20s, particularly women. Seriously, do that.
Great. I think this is a very natural point for us to talk about how do we care for our gut.
Yeah.
Because especially in the West, we just eat, right? So you're out, you're hungry.
They're bored, we eat.
We just like, let's eat. And also we eat and we drink. Like,
and we come together for food, right? Like especially food is a thing that brings people together. Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, every culture connects over food.
Music, food.
Yeah. So understood what IBS is, how people get IBS or can get IBS. You said it can also be hereditary. So how do we care for our gut? Because this is something I am very interested in. And I know it's going to be like we're talking about our bowel movements a lot, but I also have had my own fair share of constipation and just not understanding if it's something that I'm eating and just trying to change things, maybe take out yogurt, take out this. And it's just very confusing sometimes. What would you say is ideally what would characterize a healthy habit or lifestyle when it comes to taking care of your gut?
So when it comes to gut health, I can give you a lot of tips rather than go into a few in detail. So I think that'll give good value as well. So Are you ready? It's a rapid fire.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to taking care of your gut, this is basically what I have been doing for the last 25 years. It's tried, tested, and it's important that you know your body type. We'll come to that a bit later, but this basically is for everyone. It doesn't matter what your body type is. These are basically stuff that you can just apply directly to your daily life.
Okay.
And the tips that I give would help with indigestion and with regular bowel movements. So not if you have diarrhea, but probably if you have constipation.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, good. Taking notes.
So the first one would be to have warm water, not cold. As soon as you wake up in the morning, have warm water with apple cider vinegar or a pinch of cumin powder.
Okay.
That helps to wake your gut in a gentle way. And try to sip on hot water the whole day because your internal organs are functioning in a warm temperature. The moment you put something cold, it's kind of opposite reaction. And when you have warm water throughout the day, it's basically stimulating your intestines and it's waking it up to digest the food better and easy to absorb the nutrients as well. So I think warm water is something that I vouch by.
Is this also for people who live in warm temperatures? Like, yeah, because if someone lives somewhere in...
Good question.
In Africa, the part of Africa that I'm from, it's usually very warm.
Very
would you
warm.
encourage them
If it is very warm, I would say pour hot water and just wait until it gets to room temperature and have it. Probably if you're in the UK, it's not, never have hot boiling water. You just have to have something which is warm and easy for you to... Basically, the temperature of your gut. Just drink that. What we normally do is we have ice water, right? Everywhere we go, cocktails and all of that.
Yeah.
That's basically like doing the opposite to your gut. At least that's something that I have tried and tested, Zarina. And ice water generally goes like, it kind of stiffens my gut.
Yeah.
When I have warm water, the first thing when I wake up in the morning, it really helps. What's important is, Zarina, when I say have apple cider vinegar and cumin, I think cumin is pretty much okay, cumin powder, because we add that when we cook also, right? That's to help with indigestion. But when it comes to apple cider vinegar, it's basically a little bit acidic, right? It's important that every morning you don't have just apple cider for all 7 days in the morning. Try to break it up. Have, say, green tea one day, the other day matcha, the other day just black tea, another day black tea with lemon, and then go back to apple cider vinegar. That way your body is like having breaks and having a little bit of flow. I think that's worked for me, Zarina. No one really told me this, but I thought like, I listen to my gut basically.
Yeah.
It kind of bosses me around. I have to do what my gut says. So that's one. The other one would be to take care of your gut would be to add colors to your diet. So basically, they say eat the rainbow diet, but what I would add is either you're vegetarian, vegan, it doesn't matter, continue whatever you are. There's no hard fast rules. You have to kind of do what you really like.
No, not to cut you, but I feel like before we get there, I just thought about something I saw online where someone advised to also use warm water, back to the water conversation, warm water with either olive oil or coconut oil, like a teaspoon of that, and then drink. Have you said that?
So they usually say bulletproof coffee. You have coffee with ghee.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah, I quite don't try that. So I keep it very simple. I'm kind of a minimalist. So what I would recommend instead is I apply castor oil religiously for the last 2 years, warm castor oil before I go to bed. in my belly button. Just a couple of drops. That's it. Just a couple of drops, and I just rub it on my belly button. It helps with kind of loosening the stimulating and absorbing the nutrients as well. And also it's very good for clearing your bowels. And the first time you try it, you need to be very careful because it literally clears your bowel. You can feel it.
That's it.
That's it. It does. And the first day I tried, I was like, wow, I feel really good. But the most important thing, Zarina, here is you need to give 2-3 days gap because it is super powerful. You haven't done that at all, have you? So when you apply warm, sometimes they say kind of warm it. And I just like take a couple of drops, just a few drops. Just take 1 drop the first time and then take 2 drops and do not exceed more than that. It's too much.
Just a drop of castor oil.
That's it.
On your belly button.
On your belly button.
Okay. Can we just, I wonder if we should add some disclaimers here. I don't know if it would work for everybody and if it would be safe for everybody.
I was just going to say that. So it's mainly for those with constipation. It's not for those with diarrhea. And when you use that the first time, you will feel your body has gone through a little bit of, oh, what are you doing to me? And then your bowels will clear. Give a couple of days gap. Do not apply the warm castor oil for the next 2-3 days. See how your body reacts. And then reintroduce it and carry on.
I'm very fascinated by that.
It worked for me, but just be very careful of what you're doing, of course.
Because just the idea of applying something externally, that to a point that it has an impact on your internal organs is just really fascinating to me. Okay, that I am going to try that. I'll let you know how it goes.
Good luck. Let me know.
Thank you. So you're talking about eating vegetables, a rainbow diet.
Having a rainbow diet. So I guess it's important to have a mix of not just nutrient-dense diet, I would say, rather than just a rainbow diet. If you try to have millets, which is complex carbs, rather than white rice, the complex carbs they take longer they keep you full for long, and they also are more nutritious, and they're super cheap as well. For example, if you take, in Tamil we say ragi flour, and in English it's called barnyard millet or foxtail millets. These are like superfoods that's been there for generations. We have just lost it with time. So if you have millets and also try to have fermented food in your diet every time, that's extremely important. I religiously do it at least 1 meal. Again, try to not have fermented all 3 meals. Everything has to be in moderation.
Yeah, you need to balance it out.
And the other thing would be to have seaweed as well. I just toss up some seaweed, sesame seeds, microgreens. That's important as well. You can just grow microgreens on your windowsill to sprout some lentils, because I think when you have lentils, the nutrient is different to when you sprout a lentil and have just the sprouts, because that's like the highest state of nutrients. So you're giving a variety. When you say rainbow, it's not just having the colors of carrot and red cabbage and greens. It's what exactly do you have, right?
That is also very important, because I feel, have you ever eaten a meal and felt like, this doesn't really feel like I'm eating plants, and
super basic.
Yeah. And also just the way they produce them these days.
Yeah.
Genetically
GMO
modified foods.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, is this really natural? And so I think maybe also, would you recommend that people buy more organic foods?
I would say rather than organic, because I guess like the cost of living is so high, and I try to help everyone at all stages in life and in all parts of the world as well. So I religiously would say, if you want to go for organic, maybe look at the 30 green and dozen, which is like the ones that with the least amount of pesticides. For example, strawberries, it's very easy for pesticides to sit on the strawberry. So maybe you might want to go organic on your strawberries if you want to.
Let's sit on that a little bit. Strawberries have like lots of pesticides on them.
Because you can spray pesticides and they are like on the coating of a strawberry. For example, you take corn, sweet corn, it's covered, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the pesticides can't really go in. So if you can afford organic, then go for maybe organic strawberries, and you can just get your normal corn from the open market, for example. So think strategically and work that way. I don't really go for anything organic. I like to help the local farmers. I just go to the Sunday market and I buy the stuff that I need. I think they're equally good. No fuss.
Yeah. But I think you could get organic stuff from the Sunday market as well.
You can. I think what's most important is to avoid GMO, genetically modified food, the ones with preservatives, additives. So when you're looking at the ingredient list, pay attention to the first 3-4 ingredients because they form the largest composition of your food. If you find ingredients that are like 10-7 ingredients, then you know that there's a lot of additives there.
Yeah.
I think particularly with IBS, your triggers are not just gluten, which is wheat, onion, garlic, for some of them, not all of them, but gluten is very basic. Lactose, again, is very common for IBS as well. The other one is the additives, which is extremely important, and thickeners in sauces, gluten in sweets. They all can trigger IBS reactions.
IBS. Yeah. So different people have different triggers, basically. So I guess it's up to each individual to figure out what it is that they're triggered by and causes their IBS.
Absolutely. And another thing I would also add is, apart from the variety of the foods that we have, it is important to kind of really understand using plastic vessels are not really great. It's important to have iron vessels because iron adds natural iron to your meal when you cook.
What do you mean by plastic vessels?
So the ones that are covered with non-stick pans, for example.
Okay.
They aren't really great. They kind of cook your meal very fast. The best is to go for iron. And these are very like ancient ways of how we were brought up. And I think now we have gone to the busy life and easy, quick life. They aren't actually as great. So I religiously use iron vessels, cast iron vessels to cook, and they add natural iron to your food. And that actually goes into your gut to just strengthen your immune system and add iron to your, rather than have iron capsules, for example.
This is something that we seldom talk about, what you used to cook.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easier to just walk into a shop and find non-stick pans and you just pick it up.
They stare at you. They're in front of you. So
and then they look very pretty. Sometimes they color them and all of that. So you are saying that it's also important to think about what you cook or make your food
100%. 100%.
So go for iron.
It's like a whole mix of a lot of different things. It's not just food. It's how you live your life. It's the kind of work you do and how you cook your food, where you buy your food, the oils you use and everything else as well. So the other thing I would also add is try to make sure you're chewing your food very slowly when you're eating. So your digestion doesn't start in the tummy, it starts in your mouth. So chew very slowly. And if you rush it, you're pretty much adding more stress to your gut. And you make it easy for digestion.
I'm smiling because I'm thinking about myself.
A lot of people eat very fast. You are the naughty ones.
Actually, because even just watching, I think sometimes when you're watching something whilst you're eating,
you forget.
You're like, so it's so whatever emotions are coming from whatever you're watching. Well, for me, determine how fast I chew. And I'm watching something, I'm just chewing really fast because I'm probably watching something that's really, really fast. And so be mindful, right? Mindful chewing and slowly chewing.
Yes.
Okay.
Thoroughly. That's super important. The other one will also be try to eat 80% full. That is important because you can do that by having smaller bowls rather than having one big plate, because it reduces the burden for your body to digest, and work on a calorie deficit. So unless you are leading a very active life, you're underweight or you have health conditions, then obviously speak to your doctor or gastro or nutritionist. But otherwise, let's say your calorie intake is 1,200, you can have around 1,100 or so. That reduces the stress on your gut. And as you get older, you generally anyway can't eat as much, right? So it's good to eat less and then work on a calorie deficit by expending more energy, because you're mostly seated in your job and you really don't need so much unless you are going to the gym and working out and doing different things.
Yeah.
So that would be an important thing to consider as well, just to reduce the stress on your gut, to help your gut as much as in small ways wherever you can.
I find the whole part of eating 80% full to be very crucial. I think some people feel like eating has to be you feeling very full to feel satisfied that you've actually enjoyed the meal. So you're saying that you can be 80% full and then that is just it. You don't need to burden your system. No. I think for me, it's like these days I start thinking about, I don't know, it's also because I'm becoming more and more conscious, but I think about my system as having an actual life of its own.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we just eat and we don't think about what's happening in our system, what's happening in our bodies. Because you're really giving your intestines and all of the organs in your body work to do.
Yeah.
And you're just like overburdening them.
Yeah.
So I really like that point on eating 80% full.
And if you want to push it one step further, if I may add, try to do 10 hours of eating and 14 hours of fasting, if your body can take it. So start with maybe just 1 day a week, see how your body reacts, and then increase it slowly. And if you can, do that 7 days, but very, very slowly. It has to take over 6 months to 1 year. So I would, for example, if you have your last meal at 10 p.m., your next meal would be 10 a.m., for example. And you could always also look into how your body is reacting while you do that. Have lots of liquids when you're resting, but try not to load it with solids, if that makes sense. It makes a huge difference, Zarina. It does.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of content and also just like read a couple of things about the importance of fasting.
Oh, yeah.
And also, one that's a bit controversial these days is just the idea that you have to eat 3 times a day. And I've seen people contest it, that you don't necessarily have to eat 3 times a day. No. But that's how we were brought up. You have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in between, you have to have dessert, you have to have some snack, you have to have all of these things. And I think it's just... So what you're saying is basically that you have to be mindful even with the timing.
Oh, yeah.
The quantity and also the spacing out of
your meals. And while you're doing all of this, Zarina, in my case especially, your body will actually kick you out by saying, are you going to the gym often? So in my case, if you take me in a week, your gut loves movement. And if you're seated for too long, you would start feeling groggy, especially if you have IBS. It just feels like you need to go for a 20-minute walk after a meal. So I do that every time. I go for, let's say, 10 minutes of slight walking, followed by 10 minutes of jogging after a meal, and it feels so good. But generally, keeping active is so important, because when you do desk jobs, especially, and if you're remote working, like I do in my case, it's just, you've got to be very disciplined. I think in my case, IBS has been a blessing because it's taught me to be disciplined and to lead my gut with care. So what I do in a week is I do weightlifting, I play tennis, I also do reformer Pilates, and also cycling and cardio. Wow. So once you start doing it, I guess you've got to have that variety going on in a week rather than just doing only cardio or weightlifting, because your body is too smart. Once you start having or making it used to one type of routine, it gets used to it. It's like a stubborn kid. It says, oh, I know what you're going to do to me. I'm not going to listen to you, sort of a thing. So try to confuse your body a little bit, but you've got to be not too ambitious like the way I'm saying. Oh, I have been doing it for a very long time, so I know what my body is like. You got to introduce stuff very, very slowly. It won't work. Trust me, it won't work at first. And you will give up, but keep at it and slowly start introducing 2 things, then give a couple of days break, listen to your body. But while you do all of this, I personally, Z, would not take supplements. I would not. So at the time of me writing the book, I was on probiotics, I think 20 billion ICU or something for around 6 months. And then I forced myself to stop because I didn't want my body to get used to something external. That's something personal. But obviously, if you've got other underlying conditions, and I think it's so important to mention that. So in my case, I do not have other underlying conditions. I've got only IBS. So it's easy for me to kind of move around. But let's say you've got diabetes or some other stuff, you should take it very seriously. This would not work. You have to listen to your doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a disclaimer to make. It's important. So when you try to do all these different things, because I stopped having probiotic tablets after 6 months. So when I was writing the book, I was on it. Then I thought to myself, no, I just want to push myself a little bit further. I'm going to stop having it. I was feeling slightly groggy after meals and stuff. Then I started chewing on cumin seeds. Cumin seeds is basically what we use in our Indian cooking.
Okay.
Sometimes you just boil it in hot water and drink just the water. And sometimes you're so busy, right? I just have like maybe a teaspoon, just chuck the seeds and just chew into it and drink warm water. And that helped me with my digestion. And I slowly started tricking my gut and it started listening to me. And I stopped having probiotic tablets after that. I feel so happy. Generally, I think when you give anything to your body starts getting used to it. And then it stops working. Either it becomes reliant, it gets addicted, or it wants something new. And where's the end to having supplements, medicines, pills? And I think I'm a minimalist, simple person. So I just manage everything very natural because I've got only IBS. I listen to my gut. My gut is performing fine, but it might not be for everyone.
So you're saying that if it's not prescribed by a medical doctor, you would recommend that people do not rely on supplements.
Correct.
And I find this really interesting because I think before filming, we're having a chat, and I told you that I've had a medical doctor on the show before, and he also had similar sentiments. He also said the same thing about supplements and said that it's important to have if you're able to get it from your meals, but they're not a must-have. And I think it's very interesting that you also mentioned the same thing, considering that you have done a lot of work and a lot of research on the gut.
It was all self-learning.
Yeah.
A lot of self-learning.
Which is great.
I guess I was speaking to a family friend of mine, and she was saying she's struggling with sleep. Luckily, I don't have that issue. And she was saying she was having magnesium tablets, and she felt better for a couple of days. And then her body stopped listening to her tablets after some point because it knows what you're going to do, right? So that's something I've religiously try not to rely on. So gut health, Z, is generally, you have to think of it as a lifelong friend, someone that you can treat with respect and listen to, not push harder. As you grow older, you can't. Maybe when you're young, you can, which I did. And you would have to nurture it in a way that suits your life situations, your work, your stress, your relationships, and every challenge that life throws, right? And your gut literally talks to you. It's got a rhythm of its own. And the rhythm is based on your body type, your stress levels, and your challenges you face. And if you tune into your gut, which was your first rapid fire question, what would your SMS say? If you tune into it and pay attention to it, it speaks to you, and listen to it.
I want us to talk about that. And I'm very excited about this part of the conversation because I mentioned earlier the whole thing about having a gut feeling, and also having seen that the gut is our second brain, right? And I would like us to talk about your gut health and how that sort of influences our mood, stresses, excitement, just our general productivity as well. Because from my understanding, it does have an impact. And
massive.
If you do not understand it, you may think that you're sick or something is going on when it's just really your gut.
Oh, yeah. So your gut, like I started off at the beginning, it's a control center. And it has a huge influence on how you feel, how you show up in the world every day, how you focus at work, and how you sleep and everything, right? So let's dive a little bit deeper to find out how it really works. Precisely your question. Yeah. So your gut bacteria speaks to your brain through the vagus nerve, and it's a two-way conversation. If you've got, say, more gut bacteria, bad bacteria in your gut, it sends signals saying, can I have more junk food and more sugar? So that's why it's important to have, say, more prebiotic, probiotic, fermented food and try to get the balance right. And when your vagus nerve, which is the nerve through which your brain and your gut speak, is inflamed, because that's what IBS is inflammation, bloating, gas, it sends stress signals to your brain. And your brain can't think straight. Either you're moody, you're grumpy, you just don't know why you're feeling that way. So when it comes to your gut health, another important thing you correctly mentioned is the second brain. A surprising fact, I would say, many people would not know is your gut can function separately to your brain. It's got its own nervous system. It's the second brain on its own. So it is 90% of your serotonin, which is your feel happy hormone, is produced in your gut. Oh. And if your gut is not functioning well, then it's going to send complete wrong signals, and you're going to feel groggy and moody as well. The other important thing to note is not just your serotonin, but your 70% of your immune system sits in your gut. Okay. So because it's basically all your digestion and your nerves, your nervous system, it's got its own nervous system, which is the second brain. You got a gut feeling. Sometimes when we hire people to our team, we look at CVs and we look at everything and we're like, oh, okay, great. But then I have a gut feeling. Yeah. And you kind of hire people based on your gut. That's how strong, how powerful it is. Like, do not think your gut is separate and your brain is separate. In fact, your gut is much stronger and more smart and more powerful. That's the example of the magnesium tablets I was saying. Yeah. And your gut was like, I know what you're doing to me. So
interesting. And even in situations where you feel unsafe or you just feel like this is not right, there are certain things you can't really explain, but you have a gut feeling that this is not it. Right. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this. Or this is just not right. It doesn't feel good. Yeah. That's like a part of your body communicating to you that you cannot rationalize.
Yeah. And that's what we say gut rhythm. So each person has different gut rhythms. And that's based on your body types, your sort of stress levels, and your childhood. And so many different things add up to it.
It's very interesting. Yeah. So I want us to make this very practical, right? For anybody who's watching, doesn't really understand their gut. Or feels like, okay, I can relate to this. What would, for example, a healthy meal in a day look like for them? Because you also did mention prebiotics and probiotics. I wonder if you can start off, first of all, by explaining to us what that is. And then you give us an example of like, what would a normal gut-friendly meal in a day look like?
Me.
Yeah, for you.
Okay. So probiotics are bacteria that help your gut. And that could be these are like good bacteria. And that is kimchi, sauerkraut. In India, we have dosa idli, which is like fermented batter, which we swear on. So that's another one as well. Kefir, kimchi and all. Kombucha, all those are probiotics. Yogurt as well. It's good to have unflavored yogurts because the flavored ones have sugar in them. So there's something called FODMAPs I think we need to really discuss about here. So FODMAPs, FODMAPs, FODMAPs are basically certain type of sugars that many people can't digest properly. And the many is the ones who have IBS. So the normal gut, the healthy gut doesn't have the FODMAP thing to worry about. So there are good FODMAPs and high FODMAPs and low FODMAPs. So high FODMAPs are basically the ones that you need to completely avoid because of these certain fibers and sugars that your body can't digest. And low FODMAPs are what you can have. It's important to make sure that you avoid all the extremely high triggers and then have just the low FODMAPs, but have a variety and not stick to just the low FODMAP diet completely. Because when I did that, I had nutritional deficiencies, which is why I was vouching on having the varied rainbow diet, which are nutrient dense with all the fermented food and stuff, right? So back to your point on that's the probiotics, and prebiotics are the healthy fibers that feed your gut, your good gut to grow and perform well. Examples would be white rice, potato starch, bananas. Those help with this. Those are the prebiotic examples.
No, so I was just going to say, so you need both prebiotics and probiotics in your diet to function
well.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I say and try to have it more smartly as well. So when I say rice, maybe you can have wild rice. You can have brown rice, couscous, especially millets. So rather than just have white rice or potato, for example, based on whatever your gut condition is. What would
you eat?
What would I eat? So I start off, like I said, my morning warm water, and I've already mentioned that, so I'll not repeat. I'll just mix it up. Usually during the day, in terms of beverages, I tend to have, again, a mix of green tea, matcha as well. And when it comes to milk, I would always choose nut milks. Maybe you would want to go with cashew over oat milk. Oat milk tends to be too bulky for your system. Again, listen to your gut. If it's too much to digest, try and test and tweak it along the way. Keep it more practical to what suits you. My breakfast would normally start off with, I tend to, Zarina, have like 4 days of meat and 3 days of full vegetarian. I think that kind of reduces the load as well. Generally, having red meat can be too much for you. It's not good as well, right? Red meat. But I tend to have everything else, all the other meats. So the morning would be just say an omelette with spinach, with cheese and some nuts on the top as well. So I just throw in 5 different varieties of nuts. But when I have, say, almonds, I make sure it is soaked and the the skin of the almonds is peeled. I would have something very light with also avocado.
Yeah.
Then my lunch always religiously tends to be a variety again. I tend to meal prep and then I throw in different stuff. Otherwise, you kind of get bored having the same thing, right? You don't want that too. And you don't want that for your gut as well, because your gut knows what you're going to throw in. Just kind of do different things. Your gut is excited as well. Keep your gut happy. That's the whole thing, right? So I tend to have like millets or with curries, or in the curries, I make sure I reduce the spice. So spice is like not just chili powder, but also chili flakes. That might not suit some people. Reduce salt as well. I reduce salt in my food generally. And that's my lunch usually. And I avoid a lot of like greasy junk food anyway. I don't. Oily food as well. I think that's important to avoid, like rather than deep fry, put it in the oven.
Yeah.
Those kind of foods. So meat, again, a large portion, baked meat, protein, lean meat, turkey, rather than just say, I throw in sort of other meats like mutton on and off in the week. Then I also avoid a lot of seafood, Zarina, for lunchtime, because seafood is very heaty. So I think we'll go to body types in a bit, because that adds more heat to your gut and it kind of doesn't let your gut perform well. It causes bloating. Dinner, I tend to finish by 6 o'clock, but if I'm going out, then that's fine. If I have a late dinner at 10, then I have my breakfast the next morning at 10 a.m. Dinner, it tends to usually be very light, maybe just a smoothie or a dark chocolate, salad.
Yeah. Basically like someone's desserts.
Yeah.
Without the sugar element, but it's something very light.
But I wouldn't like say eat like a poor person at night and a king. I don't believe in that. Sometimes if I'm not too hungry in the morning, then I'll have something light. Sometimes I have a heavy dinner because I know the next morning I'm going to go out for a sauna or I'm going to do some weightlifting. I know I'm going to burn it off. That's the most important thing. Normally what we are told is eat and then exercise. No, exercise. And then when you exercise, your body will say, I need more protein today. Then you eat. So it's the other way around.
This is so good. So I think my final question before, I'd like to know a bit more about your book. Even just in this conversation, there's a lot. And I really think people should go get it, because definitely they will find it very useful. What's surprising fact throughout your whole research and experience about the gut? What's that one surprising thing that you found about the gut?
Surprising thing is it's got its own nervous system. I think that was the most surprising thing for me. Yeah. And it doesn't listen to the brain. It does its own thing.
Very interesting. Could you show us your book? So this is your book.
Yeah.
It is Gut Health Guide for IBS, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the book?
Yeah, so Gut Health Guide for IBS. It came out in 2024, and it's basically for those with IBS or those generally wanting to improve their gut health. What I found is it's basically in a natural, no-fuss, simple way to feel better. And I avoid complicated English. I avoid medicines and avoid strict diets. It's talking about your body types and what you should be doing in a very systematic, consistent, small steps every day, but never really giving up. What I found the gap in the market is that most of the material was either too scattered or too deep, and I want to bring everything into one place, so people can quickly flip through whatever issue they're having and then find what remedies they can use from ingredients around their kitchen, which actually works. The aim of this book, Zarina, is to empower people to take back control of their health, because normally we are given and told sort of a checklist of things to do. And we often try it and we give up, but not really. You've got to kind of use your own intuition and listen to your gut and do what your body actually needs. What I also thought about sharing is that, especially when my book covers basically gluten-free, onion, garlic as well, because that's a high FODMAP trigger that I have, which I think many people don't realize that onion and garlic is a trigger. So I completely avoid that. Even alcohol, completely avoid that. That really helps. My book also covers about mindset, exercises, and how to set boundaries at home and work and relationships as well, because that also adds stress. Basically, it's a guide where I'm talking about my lived experience, because I've been through a lot of trial and error, and I wanted to show people in a very compassionate, kind way, Zarina, that don't worry, I've been there. And I know it's not going to be a cure, and we have to live through it. So I want to give people hope, and especially as the interim finance director and CFO, I know how hard it is for people with challenging jobs to manage their work and also their gut problems and show up to the world in a way they should. It's not easy. So to those who are having IBS, well done.
Oh, gosh.
It's not easy. We're all in it together. I combine ancient wisdom Ayurveda with modern science on doshas. So that's the body type that I emphasize a lot on.
Where can they find it?
You want to get your hands on it? Yes.
Yeah.
So you can find it on, you've got ebook, paperback, and audio versions on all of that. So you've got my own voiceover if you want to hear my voice again.
That's great. Wow.
So this came out mid last year, and I just thought there were very good reviews on Amazon, Audible, and also iTunes.
Yeah.
There were a couple of doctors and nurses who also have said the book is great. So I think I'm not a qualified doctor, just to say, but I've had doctors who said this is great. It's all natural. So I think that gives me an assurance that I've done something good. If you haven't checked it out, I'd love to hear what you think about the book. And it's nice to kind of know that you've made an impact in some small way.
Which is great. I think, we can add the link to the book in the description of this video. So anyone who's interested in getting the book should check the description of this video. It'll take you to Amazon or wherever you would find it to buy. I have a very final question for you. And that is, what does kindness mean to you?
Kindness?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Is it general kindness or kindness to your gut?
General kindness.
So putting my finance hat on, kindness.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. What does it mean to you?
I think kindness really is first being able to be a very good listener and paying attention to what it feels like from your shoes and being able to give them all the options and empower them in such a way that they can lead lives the way they want. I think that is kindness.
Oh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you have been immensely kind today by sharing all of this useful information with us.
Thank you. It's my
And
pleasure.
yeah, thank you so much. Just to say thank you.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, just for your kindness. This is just to say
Oh.
a big thank you to you for being immensely
It's an
kind.
immense
and
pleasure,
for sharing
Zarina, for
all
having
of the
me here.
useful
Thank you so much.
information with us.
Appreciate
Thank you
that.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much for having
Now,
me.